For us, it's adding that fun. So as like photographers, videographers, we love to say like, do something different. If you can, like even some confetti poppers, right? Like where you're dancing or your wedding party is walking together with you and they blast off some confetti poppers and you're, wearing sunglasses and just dancing and having a good time. Like the confetti poppers don't cost a whole lot of money, but they add such a cool, unique part to the day. Or another one that we love to do is smoke bombs. I mean, to me, it just adds a blast of color. It's so unique. Barely anybody does them. And honestly, the guys usually get really excited about it. They're like, yes, I get to play with pyrotechnics on my wedding. Like, love it. Yeah. And they don't take a lot of time, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, they only last 90 seconds. So it's such a cool, unique way to add something that's fun. It's like the last thing that we do, right? In case something goes wrong. And it's just a way to add some fun into that day. Today we're going to be chatting all about ways to make your wedding uniquely you and ways that you can do that on a budget-friendly way. That's kind of what we're going to be chatting about today, because I think there are ways to make your wedding unique and different and not look like everybody else's, and hopefully not break the bank, because I think at the end of the day we're already spending a lot of money on this wedding. I mean, couples are. And so if there's ways to make it unique and fun and different and on a budget, I think that that's important. One of the ways that we've seen couples sort of put a little bit of their personality into the day is by doing either things like signature drinks, so their favorite drinks on the bar menu. The other one is also maybe even candies on as a gift, right? Like on the table. So it'll be like her favorite candies and his favorite candies. By doing something like that, it just sort of puts that personal touch on it and hopefully serves as a way to make it so that it's unique to them. And maybe people didn't know that about them. Maybe like, I wouldn't know who somebody's favorite candy is outside of you, really, or my kids. This is like a really cool way to just sort of put a little bit of personality into it, and it doesn't really cost a lot of money.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like his and hers favorite candy. It could be a lot of things like, oh, it would be hot sauce for me and like chocolate for you, or popcorn or whatever it is, right? So you can have like either treat stations, or they could be the wedding favors, or there's a lot of different ways. The his and hers drinks is a nice one. I've seen even that done with pets. Yeah. Like their pets' names, like, oh, that's like Charlie and Dexter's like favorite drinks. Yeah. So including photos of your pets, or even I've seen napkins that had like their pet's photo or names on it, which is kind of cool to include that, especially if the pets aren't allowed to come to the wedding, but at least you still want them involved somehow, which is kind of nice. Yeah,
I've even seen socks, with a dog's face on them. I think that incorporating something that just like makes it a little bit special and unique to them is like a nice and inexpensive way to really add something that's unique to the couple.
Yeah, I've even seen grand entrances. One that I'm actually just remembering now is that they were huge into rugby. And their grand entrance, they had to come in and like drink out of a shoe, because apparently it's like a whole rugby thing. So they did that, and it's funny, even sometimes we don't even see it coming, and they didn't warn us about it, and then we see something happen, and I always ask, why did you do this like whole elaborate thing? And they go, oh, well, it's because we really love this one thing and we wanted to incorporate that into our wedding. So it doesn't have to be super expensive. It could just be like a song, or even having like your cousin sing, or whatever it is, like your grand entrance song. We've done that a few times before too.
One that was popular too is the little like dog on the side of a cake with like a bite mark, just like little cute things like that, I think go a long way, right?
Like cake toppers.
Yeah, cake toppers can really be a personalized thing as well. The other thing that I've seen that relates to us is that using like your engagement photos as well as part of your decor. So printing out a few photos and kind of putting them all over the place. I feel like that's also a way, and it's not super expensive, and at least you get a dual purpose. You can then put those photos up in your home or whatever afterward. So I think that that's like a really easy way to kind of infuse some of your personality into the day.
I've even seen the table numbers. Each one was a different photo of you and your partner. Either you guys as kids was like one side was one side was the other, or photos of the evolution of your relationship together.
Like year one, year two.
Year one, year two, year three. Like, as obviously if there's 12, you might not have been together 12 years. Maybe they could be months or just milestones in your life. And then I've even seen like trivia games where throughout the night they had the MC go up and ask questions. When did they meet? Like, what was the year that they met? Or what's their like favorite trip that they've been on, or whatever it is.
One way that I've seen couples be unique as well is the color scheme of things. So something that's been trending right now is instead of, say, having everybody matching, you know, like all the groomsmen are matching or all the bridesmaids are matching, it's like they are just using a color scheme. And I've even seen it where even the guests were part of the color scheme. And I think that that's really cool. Like, I really love the ones where it's like the black tie where everybody wears black, and I think it just looks like really cool. Or I've seen it where everyone wears blue, but it's like different colors of blue or different colors of pink. And I think that that's like a really cool way of making your wedding unique and stand out from that perspective as well. And then you can take that and kind of splash it through everything, right? Like, so think things like stationery or flowers or your cake and, you know, your shoes. Like, I think that there's ways to really infuse your personality based on maybe the color scheme, and maybe it's just like all different kinds of colors of pink or different kinds of colors of blue or green or whatever that is. And I feel like what that does is it's like, it makes it so unique and different, and people aren't expecting that. And I love, 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 love seeing that. Whenever something is different and unique, I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, I've even seen, I had a couple grooms get married, and one of the grooms had built his boutonniere, and it was a blended family, so they each had children, and his boutonniere had flowers representing each of the kids. And later on, he actually made two versions of it. One was they're all a little bit more separated, and then the second boutonniere had them more blended as like they became a big family.
Oh, cool.
And I thought that was super cool that he even like thought of that concept, and then he explained it during his speech. He went through and like explained the difference between the two, and I thought that was a cute idea. That same wedding, what happened as the table numbers also was like a little box. And during his speech, he said, okay, everyone, you can open up the box at your table. And he had handwritten a note to every guest at the wedding, which I'm sure took a lot of time. Yeah. But everyone had just a little handwritten note that they passed around to the tables. And it was just like a little thank you note that he was giving to all the guests at the wedding itself.
Yeah, we saw that too, where they had written notes to each guest as part of their name, like their name card, place card.
Yeah, that's right, the place card.
And I think that is also super cool. I mean, it takes time, but it's not expensive, right?
Exactly.
Like, you think about like cost-wise, I feel like that's a really very unique thing to do, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. Another thing that I think is really cool and unique is by putting a menu on each table, like either on the table or on each plate, and including the person's name there as well. I know that sometimes writing a letter might seem like a lot of work and whatever, but by putting the menu and adding their person's name, I think it's just like a nice touch to have something where it's like it has your name on it, right? Yeah. And then it has the menu, or it has even the choice of food that you made, right?
Already selected.
Because I think that sometimes, you know, when you RSVP, say 3 months before, you've kind of forgotten what you said, right? So it's nice to be like, oh yeah, I got the beef, which, you know, I'm excited about. Oh, and it's like, maybe it just said beef in the RSVP, and now it's like, oh, but it's beef with like mashed potatoes with garlic, and you're excited again because of the food, right? And so
I mean, we eat like 50 of these meals, and I always am excited to see something with my name on it, especially as a vendor.
Yeah.
It always really like speaks to me that they even went out, not only for their guests, obviously, that they've known for years, but us too, that they've gone. And
I do love it.
And then there's like a little photo of like a cow on it or something, or a little chicken. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm having chicken today. Like, sometimes I even forget what I've chosen as my meal. So it's nice to get that little reminder, and it's a little personalized thing. I always take a photo of it for Instagram or whatever, and it's just nice.
Yeah, it's such a neat and easy way to, you know, to do something that's unique as well.
Another thing that I really love seeing that doesn't cost anything but can make a huge statement at a wedding is personalized songs for ceremony, grand entrance. Those, like, we had one recently that did a live version of
the Imperial March.
Imperial March, yeah, from Star Wars. And that was what the groom walked down to at his ceremony. And I thought that was super unique because we always hear the same songs, typically the same like 20 songs at every single wedding when people will either do the recessional or walk down the aisle. So it was super cool. Everyone had a good time, laugh, and I'm sure people won't soon forget that they heard this like cool song. Everyone was laughing, having a good time. So even choosing specific songs to do some of the events, or like the cake cutting song.
Oh yeah, that was so cool. I'll never forget that. They're like, yeah, we have a cake cutting song. I'm like, who has a cake cutting song? And then this song came on, and oh my gosh, I had that song stuck in my head for weeks because it was such a funny song.
We still make fun of it.
Yeah, we need to make a video about that because it was so good. The next one is, look at doing a sweetheart table. If you are going to do any kind of decor for your ceremony or for your, head table or for your venue in general, put all of your budget or most of your budget into decking out that space. Obviously, this isn't necessarily budget friendly, but what I want you to know is that most of the photos that we're going to take are going to be at the sweetheart table and during your ceremony. So make sure that those ones are either transferable or that it's, something that you can essentially use in both places, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that that's a way to sort of save money. I kind of call it, like the bride math, where it's like half off because you use it twice.
And it could be as simple as even flowers down the runway of the aisle, or an arch, or some kind of floral arrangement that you have at the end that you're getting married, in front of or under, that can then just be moved to the head table.
Yeah, and so a sweetheart table is going to be cheaper because it's not as big, and also, again, all the photos are going to be taken there. So to me, it's like the most bang for your buck to decorate that space as much as you want. The rest of it, honestly, just candles is like an easy one. Tea lights, tall candles. If you don't want to spend money on that, but that to me is a really economical way.
And you would think that during speeches, obviously, we're shooting some reactions, but it's not only that time during first dances. If you're having it, usually the dance floor is very close to the head table, and it's just nice to have that as the background. Typically you don't want like wherever the DJ is, or if there's any other things on the other side. Even during the grand entrance, sometimes it's very nice to have that head table there, and the parent dances all in that general area, especially with even like the bouquet toss and like later on stuff. Don't underestimate how much time and how many photos we're going to take in that space.
That's literally where we're going to point our camera most of the time. Last but not least is adding some fun into the day. That's probably one of the number one recommendations that we give to our couples, is that, okay, we talked about all the serious stuff. We figured out what is important to you that we're going to capture. Now let's add in some fun. It's always the part where I get most excited because I think that can have such a big impact on the day and on the final product as well. And there's ways to do it where it doesn't cost a ton of money, but it definitely makes your wedding day stand out. And I think that people discount that experience is also what is left with everybody who goes to your wedding, right? And so the experience that they have for the day and how organized it is and how smooth everything is really important, but also how much fun they had. So for us, it's adding that fun. So as like photographers, videographers, we love to say like, do something different. If you can, like even some confetti poppers, right? Like where you're dancing or your wedding party is walking together with you and they blast off some confetti poppers and you're wearing sunglasses and just dancing and having a good time. Like the confetti poppers don't cost a whole lot of money, but they add such a cool, unique part to the day. Or another one that we love to do is smoke bombs. I mean, to me, it just adds a blast of color. It's so unique. Barely anybody does them. And honestly, the guys usually get really excited about it. They're like, yes, I get to play with pyrotechnics on my wedding. Like, love it. Yeah. And they don't take a lot of time, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, they only last 90 seconds. So it's such a cool, unique way to add something that's fun. It's like the last thing that we do, right? In case something goes wrong. And it's just a way to add some fun into that day. And then last but not least is even like bubbles. So, we've seen that a lot too, where like maybe they can't do confetti poppers or they don't want to do smoke bombs. Bubbles is kind of like a different thing to do. And I think that doing stuff like that, or we've even seen it where they have those foam things on the dance floor that light up, or, light up hats for the dance floor, just something that really sparks that level of fun into the day. I mean, sure, there's things like the shoe game or, stuff like that. Fireworks, we've seen that too, right? Like that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, but I think the bubbles and the confetti, you could definitely do it as like a tunnel with the bridal party with you coming through it, or you can have it as you're leaving the ceremony, have your guest get involved, throw confetti or do the bubbles or whatever it is. You get some cool photos out of it as well. Even like grand entrances, I've seen one where they used like blow up suits, where they like came in as dinosaurs or whatever, and that's kind of something that can bring a lot of entertainment. Putting effort into like a choreographed first dance.
Yeah.
That's another way that costs no money. It just takes a lot of time probably and practice.
Yeah.
But that's something that is super cool that people will remember that you did that. To me, whenever I see a couple do that, I got respect for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I've actually gotten emotional watching them do choreograph because I'm like, wow, that was so well done. And they put so much work into that, and like, oh my gosh, like so cool. And it, like you said, it doesn't cost them money. Maybe they have to pay someone to teach them how to do it, but little things like that can have a big impact, right? Not just like the look of everything, but just the little fun things that you can infuse really has a big impact on the day.
People learn about you and they will know that you care about that.
And it's just fun, right?
Yeah,
like I think that's what we want to bring to every single wedding is that level of fun. And if there's ways that we can do that don't cost a lot of money, then we're absolutely going to do them. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions about ways that you can make your wedding uniquely you, then let us know. Maybe there's something that you've done that was different than what we talked about today, and we can add that into maybe another video. But I think looking at trying to make your wedding uniquely you and different and stand out is definitely a vibe that I can be excited about.
We didn't talk about all the ways that you could spend money to make things uniquely you. Well, we really wanted to touch on things that can take time and effort but really won't break the bank. We love it when people care about their wedding so much that they put time and effort into doing little personal touches, because that just gives us more stuff to be excited about on a wedding day.
Yeah, and to capture and to reminisce about, and just adds that little detail that makes it so different and fun.